He struck her across the face in front of her own people. The village froze. Dust hung in the air like judgment. Then a shadow moved at the edge of the firelight. Her cheek burned, but she didn't fall. She straightened, eyes locked on him. The cowboy smirked, adjusting his hat as if nothing had happened. No one breathed. Children clutched their mothers' skirts. The fire snapped louder than it should. Nietzsche, the elder, stepped forward. "Leave," the cowboy spat. "Not till I'm paid." Dostese knelt by the woman, brushing blood from her lip with her sleeve. "Hold still. I'm fine," the woman whispered, but her fists shook. The cowboy laughed. "Fine. Then pay up, or I'll take more." A young warrior shifted, hand on his bow. Nietzsche's voice stopped him. "Not yet." Clara, her name carried soft in the hush, lifted her chin. "You hit me once. Never again." The cowboy leaned closer. "Who'll stop me?" "You." A gust stirred the fire. Sparks swirled like eyes. Then from the dark came hoofbeats, slow, deliberate. The cowboy froze a fraction, enough for the crowd to feel it. Dostese whispered to Clara, "Don't speak now. Let shadow speak." The hoofbeats stopped. A figure slid from the saddle, silent as the night itself. The cowboy's smirk faltered, and Clara's people leaned forward, waiting to see what justice would look like. The rider dismounted without a word. Dust clung to his coat. His boots sank into the firelight, slow, steady. Clara pressed her palm against her cheek. Dostese's hand steadied hers. "Don't move," she whispered. "I'm not weak," Clara said. "You don't need to be weak for me to care." The cowboy scoffed, voice rough. "What's this, another show of silence?" Nietzsche's eyes narrowed. "You crossed a line." The cowboy grinned, teeth flashing. "Lines mean nothing in dust. Pay me or she pays." The rider's shadow stretched across the circle. His face came into view, scarred, eyes cold. Not Apache, not cowboy. Somewhere between, carrying history like a weapon. He spoke low. "Touch her again, and I break your hand." The cowboy laughed. "Bold. Who are you to say?" The man stepped closer. "The one standing here when you fall." The fire popped, sending sparks into the night. Children flinched. Mothers tightened their arms around them. Dostese dabbed Clara's cheek with a strip of cloth torn from her own shawl. "It'll bruise." "I don't care," Clara muttered. The man's gaze flicked to her, brief but sharp, before settling back on the cowboy. "You owe me," the cowboy growled. "Your people took my cattle." "No," Nietzsche said. "Your greed drove them here. The land gives back what men steal." The cowboy spat again, closer this time. "I want payment." The stranger's voice cut through. "Or what?" "You'll strike women again," the crowd murmured, anger brewing like thunder. The cowboy's hand hovered near his revolver. "Don't test me." Kaya, one of the younger warriors, hissed from the edge. "We should end him now." Nietzsche raised his palm. "Not with rage, with weight." The cowboy sneered. "Wait! You people have nothing." Clara's jaw set. "We have each other." The cowboy turned on her, eyes hard. "You keep talking, girl, and I'll—" A knife point glinted at his throat. The stranger's hand had moved faster than anyone saw. Gasps broke the silence. "Say it," the man growled. The cowboy froze, Adam's apple bobbing against steel. His hand twitched near his gun. "Don't," the man warned. Nietzsche's voice carried. "You came into our circle and struck what is sacred. Now you stand alone." The cowboy's bravado cracked. "You think you scare me?" The man pressed harder with the blade. "I don't scare you, I end you." Clara's breath caught. "Don't kill him," she whispered. The man's eyes didn't move. "Why not?" "Because he wants us to be like him," she said. The knife lowered an inch. Enough for the cowboy to breathe, not enough to move. Dostese tied the cloth around Clara's face. "Hold this," she said. Clara pressed it herself, hands steadier now. "Thank you." The cowboy tried to chuckle. "See, even your women beg mercy." Clara's voice cut sharp. "Not mercy, justice." The fire snapped again. An owl hooted beyond the ridge. The stranger spoke low, only the cowboy hearing. "One more insult, and I take your tongue." The cowboy swallowed. His smirk faltered. He stepped back, palms out. "Fine. I'll leave, but don't think this ends here. He glanced at Clara, a final sneer. Bruises fade. Shame stays. Her eyes didn't break. Yours will last longer. He turned, boots crunching, retreating into the dark, but not far enough. Hoofbeats stirred again, faster this time. Another rider appeared on the ridge. He carried a lantern, swinging it high. Shadows danced across the village walls. Nietzsche tensed. Not alone. The stranger sheathed his knife. He brought friends. The cowboy's grin returned. You think you scared me off? I was calling them. Figures emerged behind the lantern, 3, then 4. Cowboys. Rifles slung. Children whimpered. The fire seemed smaller now. Dos Tesa moved Clara's chair back, shielding her with her body. Stay close. Clara grabbed her wrist. No, don't stand in front of me. Why? Because I won't hide anymore. The first of the riders shouted, Where's our cattle, savages? Nietzsche stepped forward, unshaken. The land kept them. The cowboy rejoined his friends, emboldened. They bruised me. They'll pay for it. The stranger's knife twitched at his side. Lie one more time. The riders leveled rifles. The lantern swayed, light cutting across brown faces. White knuckles. Kaya whispered, Bowstring tout. Say the word. Nietzsche shook his head. Not yet. The stranger placed himself between Clara and the rifles. If you fire, you hit me first. The cowboy spat into the dirt. Then you die with them. The lantern flame guttered in the wind, casting wild shadows, and from the far end of the circle, another sound rose, hoofbeats again, but heavier, echoing from the canyon wall. Not one rider. Many. The cowboy's smirk vanished. He turned, eyes wide. Nietzsche's gaze stayed steady. Now the ground speaks. A larger force approaches from the canyon, unseen, unpredictable, and about to change the standoff. The canyon answered with riders, not cavalry, not committee, horsehair tassels, rawhide shields, paint in quick strokes. Kaya exhaled. Our hunt returns. The cowboy's jaw twitched. So what? Nietzsche didn't smile. So you're outnumbered. The stranger shifted his weight. He didn't sheath the knife this time. The riders fanned at the ring's edge. A woman led them, braids wrapped in red thread. She swung down. She carried a bundle, not a gun. Clara straightened. Atsa. Atsa touched Clara's cheek. Gentle. Salvi, first. She opened the bundle. Crushed yarrow. Bare fat. A strip of clean cotton. Clara flinched at the sting. Leave it. No, Atsa said. Let the bruise speak, not infection. The crowd breathed again. Small, human sounds. Then steel scraped leather. The cowboy's friends raised rifles. Enough of this. The stranger stepped in. A wall. Lower them. One rider on the ridge lifted a lantern high. The light caught more dust. A second group threaded behind the first. Coats. Wide hats. A slim man with a leather folio. Kaya frowned. Not ours. Nietzsche's face cooled. Brand men. The slim man dismounted like a clerk exiting church. He lifted the folio. State Brand Office. Inspector Lyle. His voice was clear, almost kind. We'll resolve tonight. The cowboy spread his arms. About time. Lyle glanced at Clara's bandage. Who struck her? No one answered. Lyle's tone stayed courteous. I asked a simple thing. The cowboy chuckled. She walked into my hand. Atsa's eyes went flint. Liar. Lyle made a note. Assault alleged. Noted. He turned to Nietzsche. Cattle crossed your drawers yesterday. Nietzsche nodded once. Storm did that. Storms move hooves, Lyle said. Law moves brands. He opened the folio. A sketch of a brand. A lazy J over a bar. Yours? The cowboy tapped his chest. Mine. Lyle held up a second sketch. An old brand, burned deep. A crescent. And this? The cowboy's mouth flattened. Strays. Found clean. Clean? The stranger's voice cut. I saw acid on 2. Hair sloughing. Skin white. Lyle's eyes flicked to him. You are. Passing through, the man said. With eyes. Lyle made another note. Tampering suspected. He didn't raise his voice. He didn't need to. Tampering is theft. The cowboy bristled. You calling me a thief in their camp? I'm calling the brand wrong, Lyle said. Prove me wrong. Kaya gestured toward the corral. The herd's in the south pen. Bring one, Lyle said. Two of Atsa's riders loped off. The circle tensed. Rifles twitched. The stranger did not blink. Dostese lifted water to Clara's lips. Small sips. Clara drank. Thank you. Hold the cloth, Dostese said. Keep the wound clean. Clara pressed. It stings less. It will sting more, Atsa said. Then heal. Hoofbeats again. The riders dragged a steer to the fire line. The animal blew foam, eyes rolling. Its hip showed a lazy J over a bar. Under it, pale scarring. Lyle crouched. He didn't touch first. He looked. He smelled. He finally tapped the scar with the back of his pen. Acid. Cheap. You didn't wait for hair. The cowboy spread his hands. You think I branded over nothing. Prove the old mark is theirs. Lyle nodded to Nietzsche. Anyone here claim Crescent brand? Nietzsche shook his head. Not ours. The stranger tilted his chin at the canyon. Spanish Crescent from South Ranch. I've seen it. Rivas stock, Kaya added. They lost cattle last thaw. Lyle wrote again. So the law says this. Cattle return south. Fines assessed. Your claim fails. The cowboy's face went red. No. I lost money. Atsa stood between him and Clara. You lost nerve. He pointed at Clara. And she struck me back. Clara lifted her chin. I stood up. Lyle closed the folio. There's another matter, assault. He looked at Clara. Do you accuse? She held his gaze. He hit me, in my own circle. The cowboy smirked. Her word. The stranger's voice was gravel. Mine too. Nietzsche spoke even, and every child who saw. Lyle watched faces. He didn't smile. He didn't scowl. He simply listened. I will file the charge. The cowboy laughed. Thin. You'll write paper that no one reads. Paper travels, Lyle said, faster than horses. A gust lifted ash. The fire bent and threw light at the canyon wall. A low rumble rolled back. Not hoofs this time. Something heavier. Distant. Uncertain. Kaya's eyes narrowed. Hear that? Later, Nietzsche said. Lyle tucked the folio. I'll need custody of cattle at first light. Take them now, the cowboy snapped. Lyle shook his head. Not at night. I'm not hanging a man in the dark if the knot slips. He turned to leave. The cowboy grabbed his sleeve. You work for me. Lyle looked at the hand, then at the face. Release me. The cowboy didn't. You write what I say. The stranger took one step. Remove your hand. The cowboy squeezed harder. Make me. Atsa didn't wait. She struck his wrist with the flat of her knife. Sharp, precise. The grip broke. He yelped. Lyle stepped back, coat still smooth. Done. The cowboy shook pain off. Not close. He whistled, shrill. A reply came from the dark, off to the left. Another lantern bobbed. Quick. Men there too. A second ring forming. Dostese's hand went to Clara's shoulder. Down. Clara didn't crouch. I'm done hiding. Then hold the staff, Dostese said, passing her a short stick. Low, not high. Clara took it. For what? Legs first, Dostese said. Pride later. Lyle raised both palms. We're finished. Brands ruled. Charge noted. Everyone goes home. The cowboy shook his head. I'm taking one payment. He pointed at Clara. Her. The circle hissed. Bows lifted. Rifles cocked. The stranger slid his knife up his forearm, ready. Lyle's tone didn't change. That's kidnapping. Call it what you want, the cowboy said. I call it even. Nietzsche's voice turned to stone. Cross this line again, the cowboy smiled. Try me. The rumble from the canyon grew. A low, rolling growl. The wind shifted cooler. A smell rode it. Wet stone. Distant rain. Kaya's head snapped toward the darkness. Flash flood. Atsa's eyes widened. From the south cut. Lyle listened. He understood. Everyone move. The cowboy laughed. Storms scare you. Nietzsche didn't waste breath. Higher ground. Men grab children. Women swung packs. The riders scattered to the bank. The cowboy stepped in front of Clara's chair. "Not you." The stranger hit him like a door. Elbow to chest. The cowboy flew backward, skidding. He rolled, came up red-faced and wild. He drew. Kaya loosed a warning arrow into the dust at his boot. "Don't." The rumble turned raw. The canyon mouth darkened, then flashed white with water, torn branches, foam. Lyle shouted, voice finally sharp. "Up! Now!" Dostese hauled the chair's handles. "Pull!" Clara gripped the staff and pushed the wheel. "I'm moving!" The stranger grabbed the axle and ran. The chair bumped stones, leapt roots, scraped bark. The cowboy fired once, wild. The shot sparked rock. He aimed again. Nietzsche's hand closed on his wrist. "No!" He twisted. The gun dropped. The elder kicked it into the mud. The water arrived. A wall, brown, cold, full of sticks and teeth. It hit the fire pit first. Flames hissed out. Steam burst. Smoke blinded. Clara coughed but kept pushing. "Left! Left!" Dostese echoed. "Higher lip!" Kaya shoved from behind. "Almost!" The water surged past their heels, snatching at the chair leg. The stranger lifted more. "Up!" They cleared the lip. The first wave slammed below. The cowboy wasn't so quick. He stumbled, grabbed at a root, lost it. The flood took his hat. It took his pride. It reached for his boots. He screamed, raw and real. Lyle tossed him a rawhide line. "Grab!" The cowboy stared, stunned. Then he grabbed. Lyle wrapped the line around a cedar stump and leaned. Nietzsche slid down 2 steps and shoved the man's shoulder. "Climb!" The cowboy spat water and tried. He slipped again. Clara watched from the ridge. Salve burned her cheek. Hands shook on the staff. "Pull him," she said. Dostese blinked, after what he did. "Pull him," Clara said. "We don't drown men if we can help it." Nietzsche didn't question. He dropped lower and pushed again. Kaya braced his feet and hauled the line. The stranger reached with one hand and caught the jacket collar. The cowboy spilled onto the shelf, hacking. He lay there, eyes wide, chest heaving. He stared at Clara like she'd broken a rule he didn't know. A second wave boomed, bigger, colder. Lyle tied the line to a rock. "Hold fast." The cowboy rolled, coughing. He glared at Clara. Shame and fury fought in his face. He swallowed both. "You'll regret that," he wheezed. Clara's voice stayed calm. "No, you will." The water kept rising. It reached the pen. The steer bellowed. Atsa pointed downstream. "Cut the gate!" Kaya sprinted, blade flashing. He slashed the rope. The gate swung. The steer surged into the current, found a sandbar and stumbled to higher ground. Lyle counted heads. "Any missing?" Nietzsche scanned quickly. 2 children. Atsa whistled. A rider peeled off and found them under a ledge, shivering. Lyle looked at the cowboy. "This flood saves you from irons tonight. Don't mistake that." The cowboy sat up, sodden. "I'm not finished." The stranger finally spoke again. "Neither is the river." The roar grew. "The third wave would be worse. You could taste it." Lyle pointed to the higher trail. "Move. We sleep on stone." Nietzsche nodded. "Circle tight." Clara's wheel stuck in a root. Dostese knelt and freed it. "Up you go." "Thank you," Clara said. "Act of care," Dostese said. "Now the threat." "What threat?" Clara asked. Kaya stared over her shoulder. "That." On the far bank, in the lantern's last flickers, men moved. Not cowboys. Not brand men. Shadowed hats. Long coats, a rope bridge coiled on a mule. They weren't fleeing the flood. They were building a way across it. The river kept rising. Cold wind scraped faces clean. Atsa spread blankets on the stone shelf. "Children here." Mothers moved fast. Small hands vanished under wool. Someone passed roasted corn. Someone else brewed willow bark. Clara sat on the upper lip, breath still hard. Dostese checked the bandage. "Clean enough." Clara nodded. "I can pull." Nietzsche tightened a rawhide strap on her chair. "You'll steer, we'll haul." Kaya scanned the canyon mouth. "They're tying lines." Across the flood, lanterns swung. Men in long coats, unpacked coils, stakes, an iron throw hook. The cowboy wrung water from his sleeves. He watched the far bank with hungry eyes. Friends of mine. Lyle dried his folio with care. They're no friends of law. A voice drifted from the opposite ledge. Polite. Carrying. Evening, syndicate guard. Nietzsche didn't answer. The voice continued. We hold a note against Mr. Porter. He meant the cowboy. Default triggers recovery. Cattle. Cash. Witnesses. Atza's jaw hardened. Witnesses? The lantern bobbed. Any who impeded recovery, Lyle called back, courteous. Show writ. A white envelope arced over water, tied to a stone. Kaya caught it with a stick. Lyle slit it. He read under lantern. Clara watched his eyes. Well, receiver's order, Lyle said. Signed by a justice. Broad language. The cowboy smirked. Told you. Paper rides faster. Nietzsche's voice stayed even. Paper drowns slow. The guard captain, trim voice, clean words, lifted his hands. No quarrel with tribe. We collect one debtor and one witness, then we're gone. His gaze found Clara. Even across the flood it landed. You and him. He pointed at the stranger. The stranger didn't blink. Trashy? Lyle folded the writ neat. Collection tonight is reckless. Flood makes it void. Recovery is urgent, the captain replied. Delay risks loss. Kaya spat into the foam. Good. Atza tugged Clara's blanket tighter. Act of care, she said. Now the blow. A hook whistled. It bit our bank and clanged on stone. A thin line followed. Then a thicker hawser ran hand over hand. The men anchored to a cottonwood stump and a piton. Nietzsche crouched near the hook. He tested the bite. Well set. The stranger nodded. Not for long. He pointed upstream. Debris swirled. Branches, rails, a broken gate. When the jam hits, cut their belly. Clara gripped the chair arms. Cut what? The line, he said, at the right breath. Lyle raised a palm. Wait, we try words. He cupped his hands. Captain, the brand office has ruled. Cattle go south at dawn. Your debtor remains for charge. Brand office is county, the captain said. We are caught in daylight, Lyle replied. Not in flood. The cowboy laughed, raw. Take her now. Dostese touched Clara's shoulder. Do not look at him. I'm not, Clara said. I'm looking at the rope. Men on the far bank strung a footline under the hawser and clipped two pulleys. A ferryman slid out, boots on the lower line, hands on the upper, a harness at his waist. He moved smooth, a dark beetle over water. Kaya lifted his bow. Nietzsche touched the wood. Low shot. Spook, don't drown. Kaya nodded. He aimed at the pulley, not the man. The arrow thunked the iron and rang. The ferryman jerked, then recovered. The captain's voice stayed civil. Hostile act noted. Lyle sighed. It was a warning. Warnings are for meetings, the captain said. This is collection. The ferryman reached mid-span. He clipped a second runner to the hawser and waved. Another man began crossing with a canvas sling coiled over his shoulder. Atza leaned close to Clara. If they throw sling, duck. Clara held the staff. Then cut. You cut after it tightens, Dostese said. You steal its pull. The cowboy regained his grin. Karma looks like rope tonight. Clara met his eyes. Karma looks like water. Upstream, the pile of drift turned tighter, darker. A log rolled. A wheel turned. The stranger watched the curl. Not yet, he murmured. The sling came. It flew flat and true. It landed short by 2 feet. Water grabbed it, dragged it downstream, taut as wire. The ferryman hauled it back, swore once, tried again. The second throw cleared the lip. It slapped stone near Clara's chair. Hooks bit. The captain's voice rang. Secure the witness. No one moved. Then the rope snapped tight. The hook crawled toward the edge, inch by inch, hungry. Nietzsche set his heel and slammed the staff under the hook. Hold. Kaya jammed a wedge beside it. Locked. The line groaned, teeth on teeth. Across the flood, the captain lifted an arm. 2 more men clipped on. The hawser sagged lower with weight. Water slapped their boots. Lyle called out again, still polite. "Captain, rescind now. You'll lose men." "Risk noted," the captain said. "Proceed." The stranger tugged Nietzsche's sleeve. "Listen." They listened. A new sound crawled up from the dark. Not roar, not hiss. A grinding, like stone chewing bone. "Jam us," the stranger said. "Here it comes." "Cut or hold?" Nietzsche asked. "Hold 2 heartbeats," the man said. "Then cut deep." Clara's chest burned. "Tell me when." The sling line tugged again. Hook scraped. A stone popped free. Dostese pressed her palm over Clara's bandage. "Eyes on me." "Breath," Clara breathed. Once. Twice. The jam struck the hawser 100 yards upstream. The line rose, then bit, then sang. The ferryman yelled. His pulley screamed. The men behind him clutched leather, boots scraping foamy water. "Now," the stranger said. Nietzsche's knife flashed. Clara's staff levered. Kaya kicked the wedge free. Rawhide parted with a wet snap. The sling line sprang into the river. The hawser whipped. The ferryman swung hard and slammed into spray. He hung there, coughing. The captain cursed, still civil. "Illegal interference." Lyle shook his head, almost sad. "You tried to steal a woman." "Subject is a witness," the captain said. "We have language." "Language," Atsa said, "doesn't live here." The cowboy shouted across the water, voice breaking. "Take her anyway." 2 more ferrymen clipped in, stubborn, men who believed lines more than currents. They edged out, closer than before. One carried a folded document in oilskin. Kaya frowned. "Paper, in flood." The captain raised his lantern. "Final offer. Submit and be safe." Nietzsche's face didn't change. "There's no safe on a rope at night." The stranger pointed upstream again. "Second jam. Bigger." Lyle chewed his lip. Then he cupped his hands. "Captain, I witness your notice. Return at dawn." "I will read." "Dawn loses debt," the captain replied. "What debt?" Clara asked. The cowboy barked. "Damage. Trespass." "Pride." Lyle closed his folio. "Pride isn't currency." A branch slammed the hawser. The line bounced. One ferryman slipped. He dangled by his harness, boot in foam. He screamed once. The captain's tone finally cracked. "Pull him!" Men hauled on the far bank. The dangling man swung, hit the hawser, wrapped an arm, gasped. The stranger leaned to Clara. "Lesson time." "I'm listening," she said. "You can cut kindness too," he said. "At the right place." She stared at the jam. "We help him up. Then we end the crossing." Nietzsche nodded. "We throw a tail." Kaya stripped a coil. "Ready." "On 3, the stranger said. 1, 2, throw." Kaya's rope sailed. It looped the dangling man's waist. Nietzsche and Atsa hauled. The man's boot found the footline. He climbed. He clung. He lived. He shouted something no one heard over the river. It sounded like thanks. Clara exhaled. "Good?" The stranger's eyes never left the hawser. "Now end it." He pointed to a boulder jutting from our bank, a shallow groove cut around its base. "Anchor there, then pull down, not out." They ran the rope around the stone, hands grabbed, backs bent. They yanked as one, not to break, but to bow. The hawser dipped toward the torrent. Upstream, the second jam hit. The hawser caught the drift. It sagged a hand, then a foot. Then it kissed water and took on weight it never wanted. Metal screamed, fibers popped, ferrymen clung and prayed. "Release!" the captain yelled. Too late. The hawser snapped. It didn't break tidy. It tore ugly. The far end whipped back and scythed their bank. Men fell. Lanterns flew into flood and died. On our side, the free end snapped like a snake and lashed the stone. The shock knocked 2 boys flat. Atsa pulled them clear by their belts. Silence came in shards. Only the river spoke. The cowboy stared at broken line and foam. His mouth moved. No sound. Lyle tucked the ruined writ in his folio. "Collection denied by God," he said softly. The captain's answer floated thin. "We return at sun." Nietzsche's voice carried, "Return with blankets." or don't return." The captain didn't reply. They faded, lanterns shrinking to stars that didn't care. Clara's hands shook again. Dostese steadied them. "Hot stones under the blanket. For warmth." "Thank you," Clara whispered. The stranger wiped river grit from his knife. "You cut true." "I learned fast," she said. He nodded once. "Faster next time." Kaya stared downstream. "Next time is coming." "What?" Atsa asked. He pointed where the flood widened. A riderless horse circled near a snag, reins caught en route. In the saddle, a leather case bobbed, lashed tight. A seal glinted on its flap. Lyle squinted. "State seal." Nietzsche's eyes narrowed. "Orders, or names," Lyle said. The horse struggled, hooves slapping foam. The case began to slip. Clara gripped the wheel. "If that paper goes, proof goes." "Then we fish," Nietzsche said. Atsa shook her head. "Water will take you." "Not me," the stranger said. He tied a belt around his chest. He looked at Clara. "Count for me." She stared at the churn. 3 beats? 3, he said. He stepped to the edge. The horse reared. The case slid. The river opened its throat. The stranger looped the belt around a cedar root. He spat once, then looked at Clara. "Count." Clara's voice trembled. 1. The horse flailed. Reins snagged on the root. The case slipped lower. 2. She clutched the wheel tighter. Dostese pressed her shoulder. "Steady breath," Clara whispered. 3. The stranger dove. The river swallowed him whole, boiling brown. The belt yanked taut, leather cutting into bark. Nietzsche braced his boots, gripping the strap. "Hold line." Kaya leaned over the edge, eyes sharp. There. A head broke water, coughing. The stranger clawed forward. One arm hooked over the horse's flank. His other hand grabbed the case strap. The horse screamed, eyes wild. It kicked. Foam sprayed. Dostese shouted, "Pull, not push." Nietzsche hauled the belt. The stranger gained a yard. He wrapped the strap of the case around his wrist, holding it fast. The cowboy staggered closer, face twisted. "Let it drown, that paper buries me." Clara's eyes flashed. "Exactly." He swung toward her. "Shut your mouth!" Kaya raised his bow. Arrow knocked on instinct. "Touch her, and you bleed." The cowboy spat river mud. "You all think this saves you? Paper always wins." Across the flood, the guard captain's voice drifted back. "Retrieve it, and you'll regret it. Burned orders harm no one." Lyle shook his head. "False. Burned orders harm every name written inside." The stranger surfaced again, gasping. He kicked the horse free of the root. The animal bolted downstream, reins torn, but the case stayed on his wrist. Nietzsche grunted. "Now up." Kaya grabbed the belt, hauling hand over hand. The stranger climbed, boots scraping rock, foam dragged at him, heavy as stone. Dostese flung a branch low. "Grab." He caught it, teeth clenched, and they hauled him up the shelf. He collapsed, chest heaving, the case clutched like treasure. Clara wheeled closer. "Open it." Lyle knelt. He checked the seal, still intact. Red wax cracked but unbroken. He exhaled. "Official." "What does it say?" Clara asked. He broke the seal, unfolded damp parchment, squinting in lantern light. "List of writs, collection orders, names attached." He paused. "And debts paid, receipts." Nietzsche's brow furrowed. "Receipts. Proof men cleared their dues," Lyle said. "But committee kept claiming them anyway." The cowboy's face drained. "Lies." Lyle held the page high. "Not lies. Stamps. Signatures. You knew." The cowboy's mouth worked. "They told me it was—" Clara's voice cut him. "They told you to hit women too." He looked away, shame twisting with fury. The stranger rolled to his knees. "More important. Whose names?" Lyle scanned. "Rivas Ranch. 2 families south. And—" he frowned. "Nietzsche." The circle stirred. All eyes shifted. Nietzsche stood very still. "I never signed." Lyle shook his head. "Stamp says you did. 4 months past. Paid in hides." Nietzsche's jaw hardened. Forgery. Clara's stomach dropped. So they'll use that paper against you. The stranger wiped water from his face. Unless we keep it. The cowboy laughed. Weak. You can't. They'll say you forged the forgery. The guard captain's voice carried again. Paper in your hand means nothing. Only in court. Kaya spat. Then come take it. The captain didn't reply. His lantern dimmed. Men melted back into dark. The river spoke louder than them. Lyle folded the writs, sliding them back into the case. We guard this. At dawn, I ride to judge. You'll be hunted, Nietzsche said. Already am, Lyle replied. The stranger tightened the belt across his chest. I'll ride with him. Clara leaned forward. Take me. Nietzsche shook his head. Too dangerous. I'm done hiding, she said. My bruise is proof. Dostese brushed her cheek. Proof bleeds. Proof also heals, Kaya muttered. Storm's not done. A rumble cracked overhead. Lightning clawed sky. Thunder rolled down canyon walls like drums of war. The refugees huddled tighter. A baby cried thin. Atsa rocked it, singing low. The song carried through raw, soft and strong. Clara whispered, Act of care. Nietzsche nodded. Then comes the strike. And it came. From the north rim, torches flared. 24, moving fast. Figures in dust coats, rifles glinting. Kaya cursed. Another circle. The cowboy smirked through cracked lips. Told you. Paper always finds more hands? Nietzsche gripped his knife. Then we cut them off. The stranger rose, dripping, case in hand. Or we make them choose wrong. The torches spread wider. A voice rang across storm. Not civil, not courteous. A bark. Deliver the girl, deliver the book. Or burn. Clara's breath hitched. Burn? Dostese pulled her close. They mean fire arrows. Nietzsche's gaze swept the canyon rim. Flames danced higher. The storm wind caught sparks. Dry brush waited. The stranger's voice dropped low. They'll torch the whole shelf. Lyle drew his coat tight. Flood below. Fire above. They'll box us. Kaya spat. Then we fight boxed. Clara gripped the wheel rims, knuckles white. We hold. Nietzsche touched her shoulder. Yes, we hold. The torches drew closer, lines tightening, bows rising, flames licking in wind. The first fire arrow lifted, ember tip glowing against thunderclouds. Armed men on the rim prepare to rain fire arrows onto the trapped group. The first fire arrow hissed. It arced clean and slow, a comet with teeth. Nietzsche's hand rose. Shields up, Atsa snapped orders. Soak the blankets. Children under. Mothers ran to the rim buckets. Mud water sloshed. Cloth turned dark and heavy. Dostese pressed Clara's bandage once. You steady? I'm steady, Clara said. Kaya lifted his bow. I'll pluck the sparks. The arrow struck brush and bloomed small. A second followed, then 5. Lyle cupped his hands. Cease fire. You'll hang for this. A voice from the rim answered. Flat. Deliver. Or burn. The stranger stepped in front of Clara. Keep low. I won't hide, she said. You can fight low, he said. A flame pot whistled down. Clay smashed, pitch splattered, sticky and bright. Atsa threw a wet hide. It smothered with a spit. Kaya shot an arrow at a flaming shaft mid-air. It kissed wood. The fire died and fell. Nietzsche shouted, Line! Pass water! Hands formed a chain. Buckets moved, sloppy but fast. Steam rose. Smoke crawled. The cowboy stood apart, drenched and shaking. He stared at the rim. They'll cook you alive. Clara turned on him. Help or be quiet. He swallowed. He grabbed a bucket. He passed it, jaw clenched. Another fire pot burst. Oil crawled toward the blankets. Dostese flung her shawl. She stamped the tongues flat. Lyle shouted up again. I'm Brand Office. You fire on an officer. A laugh drifted down. Paper burns faster. Nietzsche's voice cut. Kaya. Right flank. Kaya moved. Arrows thrummed. 2 fire carriers on the rim fell back, not dead, just scared. Atsa slid to Clara. She pressed a cool stone into her palm. Grip this. Pain down. Clara squeezed. Thank you. She spotted a flame licking under a cedar root. There. The stranger kicked sand over it. He used his wet coat as a club. More water. Buckets came. Heat pushed them back. Smoke scratched throats raw. A flare landed near the leather case. Pitch splashed across the flap. Wax hissed. Lyle lunged. No! Clara was faster. She hooked the case strap with her staff. She dragged it to the lip. Belt! The stranger ripped his belt free. He lashed the case tight. Dunk and pull! Nietzsche braced his boots. One breath only. Clara nodded. Now. They dipped the case into the flood. Steam screamed. She counted. 1. Up, Nietzsche said. They hauled. The seal held. The flame died. The leather smoked. Lyle exhaled. Alive. Keep it near water, the stranger said. Arrows hissed again. One bit the wet pile of blankets and still burned. Stubborn. Kaya stomped. It flared through his boot seam. He swore. Short. Atza kicked his heel into the flood. You'll blister, fool. I'll still shoot, he said. On the rim, a captain raised a torch high. Last call. Girl now. Book now, Nietzsche answered, calm as stone. Come take them. The captain's tone turned cruel. We don't climb. We rain. 4 men lifted sling poles. Clay pots gleamed in flame. Lyle barked. Everyone spread, not clustered. The first volley flew. Pots shattered. Fire crawled like spilled snakes. Dostese shoved a child behind a rock. She covered him with her body. A spark kissed her sleeve. She didn't move. Clara wheeled toward a small blaze licking at an old blanket. She beat it with her half-staff. Smoke clawed her lungs. She kept swinging. The cowboy appeared beside her with a bucket. He threw water wide by accident. I said I can't. Pour low, she snapped. He crouched. He poured clean. The blaze shrank. He looked shocked, like competence was a new language. Atza yelled, Break line here! She drew a boot-heel trench through dry duff. Others copied. Thin scars of dirt slowed the crawl. Kaya shot again. An archer on the rim dropped his torch and scrambled. Run, you lighter, he muttered. Thunder rolled. The wind flipped. Arrows wobbled and fell short. Lyle seized the moment. Cease fire, you lost the wind. The captain answered with a new trick. He lifted a small brass tube. A man beside him pumped a bellows. A gout of flame roared. It fell short, but not by much. Kaya stared. Fire thrower. The stranger's face went hard. Oil spray. Nietzsche spoke low. We need wet sky. Clara glanced at the flood. We make it. They dragged hides to the edge, dipped and flung them high. A rain of dirty drops fell over embers. It worked badly. It worked enough. Another pot burst near the cedar. Flame climbed bark, hungry. Nietzsche grabbed the trunk and shook. Help me. Kaya and Atza pushed. The cedar groaned. Its roots tore. It fell into the flood with a splash and hiss. A bridge denied before it existed. The captain saw the move. He aimed the tube. He tried again. Flame coughed and died. The bellows man shook the canister and swore. Lightning forked. Thunder slammed. Rain began as a guess, then decided. Fine needles hit faces. Smoke lifted. Flame hissed. Men on the rim cursed and shielded coals. Lyle threw his hat into the mud and laughed once. Thank you. Clara gulped cool air. Her throat begged. We hold. A whistle cut through storm. Sharp. Twice. A different signal. Kaya peered up. New unit, West Rim? Lanterns bloomed there too. Not syndicate. Not brand men. Uniform coats. Brass buttons. Lyle stiffened. County deputies. A voice boomed through water and thunder. By order of the judge, stand down. The captain answered, still civil. We collect by writ. Your writ is void in flood. The deputy's tone held iron. Lower fire. Leave. The captain laughed. Come fetch us. But the new men didn't climb. They unrolled canvas. They raised a shield against sparks. They planted rifles on sticks, proved aim. One shot cracked. A firepot exploded on the captain's feet. He stumbled, dropped the tube, cursed hard. Another shot. A sling pole snapped. The pot fell backward into his own men. Panic rippled up there. Men stomped their own fire. Men shoved each other. Men yelled about retreat and pay. Push now, Nietzsche said. Water and will. They surged along the shelf, stamping embers, widening the dirt scar, hauling kids. The flood roared at their ankles. Rain thickened. The rim flickered and dimmed. The captain hissed one last order. "Take the debtor, then." Rifles swung toward the cowboy. He froze. He looked at Clara. He looked at Nietzsche. He looked at the flood that had nearly eaten him. Clara heard his breath break. "Don't run," she said. He almost did. Then he didn't. He lifted his empty hands. "I'm under charge here." Lyle stepped out, badge held high. "He's mine tonight." Shots cracked wild from the rim. Not aimed. Angry. Useless. The uniformed deputies returned fire measured. 2 flashes. 2 shouts. The rimmen pulled back into rain. Silence arrived in pieces. Flame hissed out. Smoke thinned. The flood chewed, then sighed. Atsa sank to her knees, laughing and crying at once. "We did it." Kaya slumped against a rock. "More arrows than breath." Dostese checked Clara's cheek again. "Swelling less." Clara's hands shook. She didn't hide it. "I'm fine." The stranger squeezed water from his sleeve. He watched the rim. "They'll regroup at dawn," Lyle nodded. "We ride before them." Nietzsche looked to the west, where rain softened to mist. "We'll need a road." Kaya squinted. "We have one." He pointed downstream. Lightning showed a fallen pine wedged across the narrow. Its trunk spanned flood, slick with rain. A bridge the storm had made. The stranger's mouth tightened. "That's a road for wolves." Lyle closed the damp case. "It's the only road." Nietzsche counted faces. "We cross in pairs. Ropes on waists." Clara looked at the pine, then at her wheels. "How?" Dostese answered. "Simple. We lash the chair. We carry you." Clara's throat thickened. "I can help tug." "You will," Atsa said. "And we'll hold." Kaya tested the trunk with a boot. It bowed and held. Water slapped its belly. The sound was a warning. Nietzsche tied a rope around his waist. He tied the other end to the chair's frame. "On my count." Lyle slung the case across his chest. "I'll go after them." The cowboy stared at the bridge. Pale. "You'll die on that." Clara faced him. "You first, if you run." He shut his mouth. For once, he had no script. Nietzsche took the first step onto the slick pine. Rain slowed to a whisper. The flood growled. The rope went taut. "Step," Nietzsche said. They stepped. The pine flexed under weight. Halfway out, thunder spoke again. And from the shadowed bank beyond, a knife flashed under the trunk, cutting at the only thing keeping the bridge from rolling free. The knife flashed under the trunk. Wood fibers squealed. The pine shivered. Nietzsche didn't look down. Counterweight. "Right side." Kaya shifted his stance. "Right." Dostese tightened the lashings on Clara's chair. "Breath steady." Clara gripped the rims. "I'm ready." Atsa slid a folded blanket between the rope and Clara's shoulder. "No burns." "Thank you," Clara said. The blade sawed again. The pine rolled a finger. Kaya drew and loosed. The arrow snapped the knife hand open. A gasp. Metal clanged on wet rock. The saboteur cursed. Low. He scrambled for the hilt. The stranger didn't wait. He pitched his belt like a loop. The leather caught a stump root. He heaved. "Hold it." Nietzsche felt the trunk's mood change. "Wait to me." He stepped. The pine settled, ugly but obedient. Lyle touched the case at his chest. Straps secure. The cowboy swallowed. "You'll all drown out there." Clara glanced back. "Pick up that tail rope." He stared at the coil. He bent. He picked it up. Atsa nodded once. "Good." The saboteur lunged for the knife. Kaya's second arrow pinned his sleeve to the bark. He hissed. "Stuck. You'll pay for—" "Quiet," Nietzsche said. Rain hissed. Flood grumbled. Lightning flickered cold. "Step," Nietzsche ordered. They inched. The pine flexed. Water slapped its belly. Eager. Dostese whispered at Clara's ear. "Count steps, not fears." "1," Clara said. "2," Nietzsche said. Kaya kept his bow low. "3." The saboteur ripped free. He reached for a hatchet. The stranger's knife left his hand like it loved the air. It struck the hatchet haft and knocked it into the river. The saboteur froze, eyes wide. Then he vanished into brush. Nietzsche didn't look. Eyes forward. A half-rotten knot popped under the trunk. The pine rolled another finger. Everyone leaned right. Clara's wheel slipped an inch. She tightened her grip. "I've got it." "Good," Dostese said. Lyle's boot slid. The case swung. He caught himself on the slick bark, breath sharp. "Almost," Clara said. "Clip it higher." He did. "Better." The cowboy braced on the shelf and took slack on the tail rope. "Pulling." Kaya glanced back, surprised. "He learns." The pine bowed over the roar. The far bank seemed no nearer, or the night lied. "Halfway," Nietzsche said. Lightning forked. For one bright breath, they saw the river eating the canyon with both hands. Then dark again. A log hammered the trunk. It shook. The lashings creaked. The blanket bit Clara's shoulder and took the pain. "Act of care," Dostese murmured. "Now the strike." The saboteur reappeared lower down with a hook. He stabbed up, trying to roll the pine. Kaya drew. No arrows left. He swore. "Empty." The stranger crawled onto his belly, reached under, and jammed his broken knife half into a seam of bark. A tiny wedge. "Buy us a breath." It held. Barely. "Step," Nietzsche said. They moved. The far lip was close now, arm's length. Atsa slid ahead on all fours. She planted a stake in a crack and tied a loop. "Hook there," she said. Nietzsche nodded. "On me." They reached the lip. The chair nose kissed rock. Clara reached forward with both hands. "I can pull." "Now," Nietzsche said. Atsa hauled the loop. Dostese shoved the axle. The chair climbed the lip with a grunt. Clara's wheel found stone. She exhaled. "I'm up." "Next," Nietzsche said. Lyle followed, boots shaking. He lifted a knee too high. He slipped and smacked a shin. Clara grabbed his sleeve. "Lean into me." He did. He made it. The case thumped his ribs like a second heart. Kaya came last across the span with the tail rope. The cowboy held the far end, heels dug in, rope burning his palms. "Take the slack." Kaya threw a loop over a root and stomped it down. "Tied." Nietzsche turned. "Your turn." The cowboy laughed once, soft and ugly. "No." "Cross," Nietzsche said. The cowboy stared at the dark. He tasted the flood. He set one boot on bark. The pine rolled. He jerked back. "I can't." Clara looked at him. Not cruel, not kind. Steady. "You will." He met her eyes. Shame walked through him like a ghost that owned his bones. He nodded. He stepped. Kaya kept the rope taut. Atsa whispered counts. Heel. Toe. The cowboy's hat slid into the river. He didn't chase it. He reached the lip. He collapsed, shaking, wet to the spine. Clara said, "Good." He stared at his hands. "I hit you." "Yes," she said. "I crossed," he said. "Yes," she said. Rain softened. The flood stayed hard. Behind them, families started the crawl, ropes on waists, 2 by 2. Atsa ran the anchor. Kaya kept the line singing. Dostese caught small wrists and lifted. Lyle touched the case. "If I fall, grab this, not me." Clara nodded. "We know." Nietzsche scanned the trees. "We don't rest here." Kaya peered into the wet dark. "Move where?" A lantern winked ahead, then 2, then 6. Voices, calm, measured, not syndicate, not cowboys. Badges flashed in the rain. "Rangers," Lyle said, breath thin. Boots stepped from shadow. A tall man in a slicker lifted a tin star. "State Ranger, Captain Reeves." Nietzsche didn't blink. "Evening," Reeves's voice carried like a gavel wrapped in wool. "We've a writ. Emergency powers. Canyon and crossings closed. Witnesses in our care." Lyle's jaw tightened. "Brand office has custody of the writs." Reeves's eyes slid to the case. "Which is now ours." Clara rolled her chair between them without permission. "No." Reeves looked down at her, unreadable. "You're the girl." "I am." "And the bruise," he said. "It tells the truth," she said. He nodded once. "Truth doesn't keep you from harm. Rangers do." The stranger moved a half step. "Who signed your paper, Captain?" Reeves opened a waterproof folder. A seal glowed red by lantern. Acting judge, flood order, night jurisdiction. Lyle took the page. He read fast, he read twice. Scope's too broad. Scope saves lives, Reeves said. Hand the case. Kaya's bow stayed low, empty, his jaw clenched. Trick, Reeves glanced at the pine. That trick carried you. My men will guide the rest, Dostese whispered to Clara. He is smooth, like hail. Not the same, Clara said, but close. Reeves gestured. Rangers fanned in a careful semicircle. Not hostile, not friendly, nets without knots. We move to the depot, he said. Telegraph. Dry roof. Nietzsche's hand rested near his knife. Depot belongs to whose law? The governor's, Reeves said. And tonight, mine. Clara looked at Lyle. Well? He weighed paper and faces. He hated it. We walk, he said, until I know whose ink this is. The cowboy pushed himself to his knees. You'll drag me. Reeves didn't look at him. You'll walk. Hands where I can see them. Atza hissed. We leave our people. Reeves angled his lantern back toward the trunk. 2 of mine hold the far side. They'll pass families up to us. Nietzsche's eyes stayed on Reeves's men. Boots clean, guns dry. Too dry for men who'd hiked through storm. You came by Ridge Road, he said. Reeves didn't answer. Lyle tucked the flood-spattered order under his coat. We go, but the case stays on me. Reeves spread a hand. For now. They started moving along the drowned path, ranger lanterns bobbing like tame stars. Mud sucked at boots. The flood shouldered the bank with grunts. Clara rolled beside Nietzsche. Karma, she whispered. He glanced down. What shape now? She looked at the cowboy ahead, wrists visible, soaked, silent. Learning. The stranger walked on her other side, eyes on the tree line. And teeth, he said. Rain thinned to mist. The depot roof glimmered through scrub, a dim square against darker sky. Reeves lifted his lantern. Nearly there. A wire chattered in the dark, telegraph, fast and urgent. Reeves cocked his head, listened like a hunter. He stepped to the office window and rapped twice. Inside, a clerk tore a strip and opened the door a crack. Reeves took the slip, shielded it from rain, read. He didn't smile, he didn't frown. He folded it carefully and slid it into his slicker. Lyle's voice sharpened. Message for the court. For me, Reeves said. Clara's stomach tightened. What does it say? Reeves looked at her. He didn't blink. It says, custody transferred on arrival. To who? Lyle asked. Reeves's lantern lifted. Steel clicked around them. Figures stepped from under the depot eaves, 4, then 6 rain slickers, collars up, faces shadowed. One held a chain, one held a stamp, one held a blank book. Reeves answered, voice soft enough to cut, to the receiver. The chain clinked once in the rain, and a red dot of lantern oil winked on Clara's wheel. The red dot glistened on Clara's wheel. She didn't move. They marked me. Nietzsche stepped between. His shadow swallowed the dot. Not anymore. Reeves lifted his lantern higher. Careful. Misunderstandings spread like fire. Lyle's voice was sharp. Custody to the receiver. Impossible. Judge already stayed removals. Reeves showed no anger. Orders change with rain. I enforce them. The stranger's knife glinted. Enforce or sell? Reeves didn't flinch. Keep your blade low, drifter. Dostese pressed a hot stone wrapped in cloth into Clara's palm. For the shakes. Clara gripped it. Breath evening. I'm steady. Atza pulled the children closer. Not one step further. The cowboy laughed. Hollow. Told you. Paper always wins. Now it takes her. Clara's eyes snapped to him. Not if I breathe. Reeves spread his hands. No violence needed. She walks with us. The book too. Then the canyon quiets. Nietzsche's voice was flat. You step in our circle. You leave empty. Kaya's bow was bare, but he still raised it like it carried weight. We stood against flood and fire. We'll stand again. One of Reeves's men spoke for the first time. Captain, too many eyes here. He nodded at the refugees huddled close, mothers clutching children, men with wet knives. Reeves's tone softened, almost kind. All the more reason to end it clean. The stranger asked, whose pen signed your paper? Reeves reached into his slicker. He pulled the folded slip he'd taken. He held it up in lantern light. Red wax seal, crisp. Lyle squinted. His jaw went stiff. That's not court. That's receiver's crest. Reeves tucked it away. Receiver's court runs faster than county. That's survival, Nietzsche said. That's theft. Call it what you will, Reeves replied. She comes. Tonight. The chain rattled. One of his men stepped forward, cuffs open. Clara's hands shook, but she kept her chin high. You think chains make me less? You're wrong. The ranger holding the stamp smirked. Chains make you ours, Dostise whispered at Clara's ear. Say no. No, Clara said, loud enough for every face to hear. The air thickened. Rain pattered like quiet applause. Kaya muttered, Give me one arrow. Just one. The stranger spoke low. Not yet. Reeves's men spread careful arcs, no sudden moves, a net without knots. Nietzsche touched Clara's wheel. Act of care. He slid a knife into the spoke. If they grab, cut ropes first. Clara nodded. I will. The cowboy shuffled back, away from both sides. I'm not part of this. Wrong, Atsa snapped. Your hand started all of it. His face twisted. I didn't call rangers. Didn't need to, Nietzsche said. Your debt did. Reeves gave a small nod. His men advanced one step, chains ready. Proctor's voice cut in, firm, calm. Stop. Every head turned. He stepped from the depot shadows, badge bright even in rain. He'd stayed quiet until now, watching, measuring. Marshal, Proctor, Reeves said. You're out of jurisdiction. Flood order's mine too, Proctor answered. And I witnessed assault. Custody's with me until hearing. Reeves smiled thin. You'll lose against receiver in court. Maybe, Proctor said. But not tonight. His revolver glinted. Not raised, just shown. The crowd breathed again. Small courage flickered. Reeves studied Proctor, then the people, then Clara. His voice stayed low. Marshal, you'll trade their hope for your badge. Badges bend, Proctor said. Hope doesn't. The chain-bearer shifted, uncertain. Captain. Reeves didn't answer yet. He weighed storm, flood, fire, ink. Then he said, last chance. Girl. Book. Now. Nietzsche stepped forward. Blade low, eyes steady. You take neither. Kaya whispered. Signal me. I'll strike. The stranger nodded once. Soon. Rain eased to mist. The depot lanterns flickered, oil near gone. Shadows deepened. And from the far end of the tracks came a new sound. Metal wheels, slow and heavy. Everyone turned. Through the haze, another engine crawled forward. Smaller, older, but real. Its whistle cut once, sharp. On its flank, painted letters glowed under wet light. Territorial Court. Lyle's eyes widened. Judge's train. Reeves's mask cracked for the first time. Impossible! The whistle blew again, louder. Steam rose. The crowd stirred, whispers rising like sparks. Clara gripped the hot stone tighter. What now? Nietzsche's voice was steady, almost calm. Now paper meets fire. The train ground closer, brakes screaming. Its headlamp split the night, catching every wet face and every chain, every mark of ink. And the first figure stepped off the forward car, robe black, seal gold, papers dry in a leather case. A territorial court judge arrives by train in the storm, holding unknown authority that could shatter every scheme. Rain ticked on the polished steps. The judge lifted his chin. Holster, he said. Guns lowered. Not all. Enough. Proctor nodded once. Court recognized. Reeves's jaw flexed. Territorial court here. Emergency session, the judge said. Storm, fire, flood, armed dispute. We sit. A bailiff stepped down. Two marshals followed. Dry cases. Dry pens. Lyle exhaled. Sir, Brand office present. The judge's eyes took in the square, the bell scar, the wet faces, the chain in Reeves's man's fist, the red stamp pot. Names, he said. Proctor pointed. Ranger Captain Reeves. Brand Inspector Lyle. Receiver's agents under colour of Syndicate Guard. Marshal Proctor, sworn. He nodded to Clara. Witness Clara. Clara swallowed. Present. Guardians, the judge asked. Naiche stepped forward. We stand. The judge's gaze paused on Clara's cheek. Strike? She hit stone, Dostese said, after a hand. The judge looked at the cowboy. That hand. The cowboy stared at mud. Mine. Noted, the judge said. Dostese pressed a warm stone into Clara's palm again. Breath even. Clara held it. I'm steady. The judge lifted a palm. All writs to table. Lyle offered the soaked leather case. Recovered from flood. Seal mostly whole. Chain of custody, the judge asked. Girl saw, Proctor said. So did I. The bailiff took the case like it might bite. He set it on a crate in the headlamp's glow. Reeves cleared his throat. Your Honor, a receiver order. Present it, the judge said. Reeves signaled. A ranger produced the folded slip. Red wax gleamed. The judge didn't take it. Read. Reeves read. Custody of disputed person and ledger transferred to receiver upon arrival of state escort. Signed Acting Judge Rail Division. The judge's mouth went thin. Not my bench, not my seal. Still court, Reeves said. Not tonight, the judge replied. Flood order supersedes Rail Division. I hold field. A ripple moved through the lantern ring. Hale was gone. Vance in chains glared at Rain. The judge faced the ranger line. Captain, stand your men to outer cordon. Hands off witness. Hands off book. Reeves didn't move. Governor empowered me. Governor asked me, the judge said. Choose careful, Captain. Silence held a breath. Reeves flicked 2 fingers. His men stepped back a pace. The chain-bearer lowered the cuffs. Good, the judge said. Now law. He pointed at Lyle. Brands. Lyle opened the case. Damp pages, red wax. He laid them flat. Overbrands with acid, false witnesses, receipts paid, then claimed again. Names? The judge asked. Rivas Ranch, Lyle said. 2 South families. And, he swallowed, a stamp claiming Naiche paid in hides. Naiche didn't blink. I did not. The judge nodded once. Forgery probable. He looked to Proctor. Assault? Witness struck, Proctor said. Attempted seizure under smoke. Volley gun aimed at crowd. Fire arrows from rim. Flood used as cover. The judge's eyes cooled. Who ordered fire? No one spoke. The stranger stepped closer. Syndicate men, and some not under any seal. The judge turned to Clara. Speak, he said. Short. Clara met his eyes. He hit me. They tried to chain me. I pulled rope. We saved the book. He took that in. No softness, no scorn. Noted. A marshal scribbled. Penstead hissed. The judge lifted his hand. Interim orders. Reeves's chin lifted. 1, the judge said. Receiver order is stayed, tonight and until hearing. Reeves's cheek twitched. On what ground? Ground, the judge said, pointing at the flood. That kills men. And the ground that carries this court. 2, he said. Ledger is impounded to court. Bailiff seals it. Any hand touches, I read that hand into irons. The bailiff snapped on a chain with a court tag. He pressed warm wax. The seal took. 3, the judge said. Witness Clara is not property. She remains with guardians of her choosing under martial watch. You try to move her, you answer to me. Clara breathed. I choose them, she said, glancing at Naiche. Dostese, Kaya. So ordered, the judge said. 4, he said. Cowboy faces assault and tampering inquiry. He stays, fed hearing at sunup. The cowboy's shoulders sank. He didn't argue. 5, the judge added. Captain Reeves, you keep order, not custody. Your men guard the outer ring and help ferry families. You carry no chains inside this light. Reeves held the judge's stare. Then he nodded once. Under protest. Protest filed, the judge said. Dry as paper. Atza drew a blanket over a sleeping child. Act of care, she murmured. The judge heard it. And 6, and he said. Any fire arrow after this word is contempt. Any shot is contempt. Any rope thrown is contempt. You find out what that word means before dawn. It should have settled. Thunder said no. The depot roof creaked. The track groaned. The headlamp stuttered. A telegraph key rattled fast. The clerk leaned out, pale. Flash for you, Your Honor. The judge took the slip. He read. His jaw locked. "What?" Proctor asked. The judge raised his voice so all heard. "Message from the Capitol. Receiver petitions removal of this hearing to Rail Division at dawn. Claims my seat drenched." "Drenched?" Lyle said. "What is that even—" "An insult," the judge said. "And a move." Reeves almost smiled. The judge faced the clerk. "Wire back. Court sits where truth stands. Add, protect the girl." The clerk hammered it out, hands shaking. The judge looked at Proctor. "Move the witness to the law car. Dry walls. More light." Reeves lifted a palm. "Your Honor, depot has shelter. Court car has law," the judge said. "Captain, walk with us or stand aside." Reeves weighed the night again. "I walk." Marshals formed a lane. Lanterns swung. People shifted. Mud sucked. Dostase squeezed Clara's fingers. "Ready?" "Ready," Clara said. They crossed the small yard to the law car, brass plate on the door, seal bright. The bailiff unlocked it. Warmth breathed out, dry wood, dry books. A waiting desk. The judge turned in the doorway. "Bring the ledger." The bailiff lifted the chained book. A shadow peeled from the depot stair. Fast. Low. Wrong. Steel flashed near the bailiff's wrist. A hook sought the chain tag. Proctor shoved. The hook scraped metal and bit wood. Sparks. "Down." Nietzsche barked. Clara ducked. Kaya moved. The stranger's knife clanged against the hook. It skittered into rain. The shape bolted for the dark. Reeves drew and held. "Stop!" The figure leaped the ditch and vanished behind the freight stacks. "Receive a runner," Lyle said, breath hard. "Or worse," Proctor growled. The judge's voice stayed level. "Inside, now." They crowded into the car. The door thumped shut. Bolts slid. Warmth felt unreal. The lamp's glow steadied hands. The bailiff set the ledger on the desk. He wiped rain from the wax. He reached for the clasp. A thin hiss answered him, not from rain, from under the desk. The stranger's eyes snapped down. Fuse. Clara heard it too. A wasp in a jar. Short. Mean. Proctor yanked the drawer. Powder smell kissed the air. "Out!" he shouted. The judge didn't move yet. He gripped the ledger and lifted. "Book first." Reeves slammed the door open. Rain rushed in. Nietzsche took Clara's chair in both hands. Dostase grabbed the back rail. Kaya cleared the step with one jump. The hiss sharpened. The light in the stove belly pulsed once, hungry. The hiss grew mean. "Fuse!" Proctor barked. "Everyone out!" Nietzsche scooped the back of Clara's chair. "Hold tight!" Dostase grabbed the rail. "Head down!" Kaya kicked the drawer. It skittered, sparks trailing. Reeves threw the door wide. Rain hissed in. "Move!" The judge didn't move. He lifted the ledger. "Book first." The stranger dove under the desk. "Hand me water!" Clara shoved her wet bandage into his palm. "Here!" He jammed the cloth on the fuse. It sputtered, then flared again, stubborn. "More," he said. Dostase ripped her damp shawl in two. "Take it." He wrapped the fuse. He yanked. A length tore free. The hiss slowed. "Second line," he muttered. "Smell that." Proctor sniffed once. Under the stove. He kicked the iron belly. The door flew. A brighter wick spit inside. "Out!" Reeves shouted. "Cover Clara," Nietzsche said. Clara's hands flew to the wheels. "I can push." "Not now," Dostase said. "Let us carry." They surged into the rain. The stranger dove last, dragging the smouldering cloth. He flung it into a puddle and stomped. The stove coughed. Then it roared. Fire swallowed the desk. The lamp blew, glass screaming. Heat punched the doorway. The judge stepped backward, coat smoking, ledger still in his arms. Proctor hauled him by the sleeve. "Down." The car shook. Windows burst. Flames licked the ceiling. "Back from the rail," Reeves ordered. "All of you." The bailiff staggered, coughing. Kaya pulled him clear. "Breathe." "Thank you," the man rasped. A new clang answered the fire. Metal on metal. Quick hands at a coupler. The stranger's head snapped left. "Pin!" Reeves spun. "Who's at the link?" Shadow moved under the eaves. A small man, wet cap, hook in hand. He yanked the pin. The law car lurched. "Brake!" Proctor yelled. The shadow leaped. He vanished into the stacks. The car rolled a foot, then two. The grade took it. "Stop it!" Lyle cried. The judge hugged the book. "Keep people clear." "Marshal!" Reeves barked. "On me!" Proctor ran to the rear platform. He grabbed the brake wheel. It spun under his hands, slick with rain. He cursed and cranked. "Naiche!" he called. "Help me!" Naiche shoved Clara's chair up onto the depot plank. "Stay with Dostese," he said. "I'm coming," Clara said. "No," he said. "Hold ground." He sprinted. He gripped the wheel with Proctor. Muscles bunched. The wheel squealed. The car slowed a breath. Then the floor groaned. A hidden chain snapped. The wheel spun free. "Failsafe's cut," the stranger said. The car rolled faster. "Jump," Reeves ordered. Two marshals leaped. They hit mud and rolled hard. The judge didn't jump. He stared at the ledger. He stared at the dark rail. "We can't lose this." Clara looked at him, then at the moving platform, then at the river beyond. "Naiche." He knew before she spoke. "I know." He ran back. He lifted the chair like it weighed nothing. He planted a foot on the moving step. "Don't," Dostese said. He did. Kaya grabbed the step rail and swung aboard after him. The stranger vaulted next, knife between teeth. Reeves cursed once and followed, badge bright, choice made. "Hold it!" Proctor braced his back on the wheel. Useless now. "Judge, stay!" "No," the judge said. "Court rides with its book." He stepped onto the platform as the car slipped from the lantern circle into rain. Lyle shouted after them, voice breaking, "Bring it back." The cowboy stared, jaw slack. He looked at Clara. "You let him go." She met his eyes. "We follow." "On what?" he said. Flood took the road. A whistle answered him. Faint. Up track. Another engine idled at the siding, dark but alive. Lyle turned. "Yard goat!" Two deputies sprinted for it. On the rolling car, wind-knifed faces. Fire crawled the roof seam. Sparks blew backward in a comet tail. "Inside!" Reeves shouted. "Fire inside!" the stranger said. "We stay out!" The judge pressed the ledger under his coat. Rain hissed on hot cloth. "Bailiff! Off!" Proctor said. "Alive!" "Good," the judge said. The car picked up speed. The depot lanterns shrank. The flood's black ribbon paralleled them, teeth flashing. Kaya peered ahead. "Bridge!" Naiche's jaw clenched. Not the high trestle, the low culvert. Proctor squinted into rain. "Tracks hold?" The stranger shook his head once. "Maybe." The brake wheel rattled in Proctor's hands. "We need drag." "Rope," Reeves said. "Gone," Kaya said. "Then wood," Naiche said. He kicked the crate. It split. He jammed a plank under the rear wheel, riding it like a tongue. Sparks sprayed. Speed bled. Not enough. The stranger tore a stepboard loose. He shoved it against the iron. It burned his palms. He didn't let go. "Judge," Proctor said through teeth, "if we jump—" "We drop the book," the judge said. "We do not drop the book." Fire licked the roof seam again. Rain fought it. Fire smiled. Back at the depot, the yard engine coughed awake. Wheels chirped. Two deputies worked the levers, clumsy but brave. Clara grabbed Lyle's sleeve. "I can ride." "You cannot," he said. "I will," she said. He saw the set of her jaw. "Then you ride with me." Dostese tied a scarf across Clara's mouth. "Smoke." "Thank you," Clara said. They climbed into the goat's cab. The engineer's seat sat empty. Lyle took it like a man borrowing another man's hat. "Steam holds." A deputy nodded. "Barely." "Good," Lyle said. "Whistle twice." The goat hissed forward, slow, heavy, determined. On the runaway car, Reeves crawled toward the coupler. "If I drop the link—" "You'll drop yourself," the stranger said. Reeves grinned without humor. "Then catch me." He reached. He braced. He didn't die. The link refused his hand. "Too hot," he said. "Use the badge," Proctor said. Reeves laughed once. "First, good use tonight." He hooked the pin with the star and levered. It moved. The rear truck banged into square. The shock stole breath. "Speeds up," Kaya said. "Culvert ahead," Naiche said. "Listen." They listened. Water roared under stone. The rails sang a sour note. "Tracks bent," the stranger said. "Jump," Proctor asked again. The judge shook his head. "Hold." The goat closed the gap by inches. Clara watched rain sheet off the runaway's lamp bracket. Her hands clenched. "Closer," Lyle muttered to the engine. "Give me one more turn." The goat obeyed. On the platform, Proctor shoved the brake again, ritual over logic. Reeves ripped another board free and jammed it. Sparks fountained. Fire climbed the roof again. Kaya pointed. "Figure on the culvert." A man stood with a lantern, hunched in rain. He waved warning. He pointed down. He ran. "Washout?" Reeves asked. "Not complete," the stranger said, "but enough." "Brace!" Nietzsche shouted. The car hit the dip. It bucked. Iron screamed. The ledger slammed the judge's ribs. He didn't drop it. Something snapped under them. The platform jolted. Reeves lost his grip. He slid. The stranger grabbed his coat. "Got you." Reeves hung one-handed over black water. He laughed once. "Told you to catch me." "Less talking," the stranger said. He hauled. Reeves rolled back onto the boards, gasping. "Goat's here!" Kaya yelled. The yard engine kissed their buffer with a clang. Chains rattled. A deputy leaped the gap and tossed a hawser. Nietzsche caught it. He looped it twice and slammed a knot. "Pull!" The goat tightened the line. The runaway shuddered. Speed bled. Wheels screamed. "Hold!" Lyle yelled into the storm. "Pull!" Clara echoed, voice raw behind the scarf. They almost had it. The hawser creaked. Threads popped. Proctor's hands shook on the wheel. The judge's coat smoked again. "Almost!" Kaya shouted. Lightning showed the culvert edge. Two ties hung in air. One rail curved wrong, a steel smile. The hawser snapped. The runaway lurched forward free, nose tipping toward the bad steel. Clara saw the curve and knew. Nietzsche. He looked back once. Then the front truck dropped with a dull, final thud. Iron leaped. Wood split. The law car tilted, slow as a decision. Proctor grabbed the judge. Reeves grabbed Proctor. Kaya grabbed the stranger. Nietzsche grabbed the ledger. The car began to roll into the flood, fire on its roof, law in its arms. The car tipped into black water. "Hold the book," the judge yelled. Nietzsche slammed the ledger to his chest. He looped rawhide over it twice. He tied hard. Kaya grabbed the roof rail. "She's going." Proctor locked his arm around the judge. "Stay with me." Reeves wedged a boot in the corner post. "Brace!" The stranger planted a plank against the step. He jammed it between iron and tie. "Lever!" The plank groaned. The car paused, shuddering. On the goat, Clara leaned over the cab rail. "Closer! Lyle!" "I'm trying." Lyle threw the throttle. Steam coughed. Wheels bit slick steel. Dostase held Clara's belt. "Don't fall." "I won't," Clara said. The goat kissed the runaway again. Metal rang. Speed bled a breath. "Rope!" Clara shouted. A deputy hurled a hawser. It arced wide. "Again!" Kaya snagged the wet coil with a broken board. He dragged it in. "Got it." "Loop the kingpin," Proctor snapped. Kaya looped. Reeves shoved the knot home with his badge. "Pull!" The goat tightened. The line sang. The car's nose hung over flood, fire licking the roof seam. "Book to me," Clara yelled. Nietzsche looked back once. Rain washed his face clean. "Catch." He passed the ledger to the stranger. The stranger stepped to the gap, knees bent. "Ready?" Clara nodded. "Now." He threw low, flat. Clara reached. The book hit her forearms. Pain spiked. She hugged it tight. Dostase wrapped it in her shawl. "Under your coat." Clara shoved it under. She cinched her belt over leather. "Mine." A hook flashed from the dark bank. It snapped for the ledger. Kaya's hand slapped the hook aside. It scraped iron and fell. "Runner!" Reeves barked. Proctor fired once. Spark on stone. The runner vanished. The plank under the step began to scream. The stranger shoved harder. "Give me a block." A deputy slid a chalk across the gap. The stranger set it. The plank held longer. Not long. Fire spit through a roof seam. Rain hissed. Smoke burned eyes. "Judge, jump," Proctor urged. The judge shook his head. "After you." Reeves grunted. Marshal first, law last. Move. Proctor didn't argue. He hooked the goat hawser with both hands and swung. He hit the buffer and rolled. Next! Kaya shoved the stranger. Go! The stranger leaped. He landed on the goat deck and grabbed the rail. Clear. Your turn, Nietzsche told Reeves. Deputies last, Reeves said. He grabbed the judge's sleeve. Now. The judge exhaled once and jumped. Proctor hauled him aboard. Hands took him. He kept a hand on the book under Clara's coat. Reflex. Nietzsche, Clara cried. Coming, he said. The plank popped. The car dropped an inch. Water climbed the steps. Reeves reached for Nietzsche. He missed. Nietzsche didn't take it. He spun back. Kaya first. Kaya swore. Go! Nietzsche shoved him. Now! Kaya leaped. He hit the goat deck and slid. The deputy caught his collar. I've got you. The car dipped again. The hawser squealed. Threads popped. Nietzsche! Clara yelled. He grinned like a man who knew rivers. One more breath. He tore the badge from Reeves's chest. He jammed it into the plank seam like a wedge. Hold for two. Reeves blinked. You thief. Borrowed, Nietzsche said. He planted both feet and pushed. The plank bit the badge. The car held one heartbeat. Reeves jumped. He landed hard on the goat and rolled. Move, damn it. Now, Nietzsche said. He turned and made the gap. Hands met him. Proctor's, Kaya's, the stranger's. They dragged him across as the plank snapped and the car tipped sickeningly. The hawser tore in half. The runaway groaned and slid. Back! Proctor shouted. They all heaved. The goat lurched away as the law car rolled into the flood. It splashed, hissed, spun once. Fire guttered, then flared. Then the river swallowed it whole. Silence, and only the rain. Clara's chest shook. We have it, she whispered. We have the book. The judge touched the leather under her coat. You saved this court. Dostesay pressed Clara's hand. Breathe. Clara breathed. It hurt. She did it anyway. Reeves leaned on the cab wall soaked, laughing once without humor. Keep the badge. Nietzsche handed it back. It wedged true. Use it again if I stray, Reeves said. The goat wheels slipped. Lyle eased steam. Tracks bad ahead, Proctor pointed. Reverse to the depot. Lyle nodded. He reached for the lever. A whistle shrieked from the far bend. The judge spun. Who's on the main? Headlamps bloomed through rain. Another engine. Black. Clean. Too clean for this night. Clara's stomach dropped. Receiver. Reeves squinted. Rail division tender. The tender shoved a flat car stacked with tarps. Men hunched beneath. Lanterns covered. Brace, Proctor said. They'll ram. Not if we move, Lyle said. He backed the goat. Wheels spun. Bit. Moved a yard. 2. The tender gained 3. Jump line, Reeves said. Onto the siding. The switch is flooded, Lyle said. Handles mud. Kaya grabbed the cab rail. I'll throw it. You'll die, Proctor said. I'll run fast, Kaya said. The judge touched Clara's shoulder. You choose, he said. Stop here and fight, or run and risk the switch. Clara felt the book's weight under her belt. She counted 1 breath. 2. Run, she said. We pull them from ink to ground. Lyle nodded. Faith or madness. Hold tight. The goat chuffed faster. The tender wailed. The distance shrank. 10 car lengths. 8. Kaya swung down to the tie bed. Water covered his ankles. He ran. Reeves climbed to the buffer. He braced like a human bumper. If this fails, it fails on me. Proctor joined him. On me too. The stranger tied a short line around the goat's stanchion and around himself. If it hits, I don't fly alone. Dostesay tucked Clara's feet under the cab bench. She locked her elbows around the book. Don't let go. Clara smiled without humor. I won't. Kaya reached the switch stand. He yanked. It didn't move. Stuck, he yelled. Kick it, Nietzsche barked. To the throat. Kaya kicked. Iron didn't care. He looked at the frog. He jammed his knife into the throw rod and levered with all his weight. The bar shifted a finger, then 2. Not enough. The tender howled. 5 lengths. 4. Clara shouted, "Kaya!" He didn't look back. He jammed the knife deeper and screamed at metal like it could hear. It heard. The bar jumped. The points kissed the rail. "Now!" he yelled. Lyle threw the goat onto the siding. Wheels squealed. Sparks. The cab rocked. The judge hit the wall and kept the book's memory in his hands, even though Clara held the real thing. The goat cleared the switch by a breath. The tender slammed past on the main. Its flat car scraped the switch post and showered them with rotten ties. "Down!" Proctor shouted. Boards clattered the cab roof. One bounced into the deck. Reeves kicked it off. The tender screeched to a stop ahead, reversed and started backing. "Again," Reeves said. "They'll try again." "Not if we hide," the stranger said. "Where?" Lyle asked. Nietzsche pointed. "Coal shed. Short wall. Deep shadow." Lyle cut steam. The goat rolled into black. Lanterns slid by outside, searching. Men shouted. Boots hit ballast. Clara's breath came quiet now. She pressed the book harder under her coat. "If they board us, we bleed them," Dostise said. "No," Clara said. "We blind them first." "How?" she asked. Clara stared at the firebox. It still glowed, a red eye. "Open it, then flood it." Lyle blinked. "You'll kill the fire." "Good," Clara said. "Make smoke. Make night thicker." The stranger grinned. "Do it." Lyle cracked the door. Heat licked his face. He dumped the last bucket in. Steam blasted. Smoke rolled out of the cab like a second storm. Men outside coughed. Lanterns bobbled. "Now move," Nietzsche said. "Slow. Quiet." They pushed the goat another yard into dark. The tender's lamps swept past and missed them by inches. Proctor exhaled. For a moment. A telegraph wire thrummed above. The judge looked up. "Clerk's still sending." Reeves cocked his head. "What message?" The clerk's window glowed. A shape moved inside. Not the clerk. "Runner," Reeves said. "Or worse," Proctor answered. The judge set his jaw. "We go to him." "Through them?" Lyle asked. Clara felt the heat fade from the firebox. The cab cooled. Rain ticked louder. She reached for Nietzsche's hand. He gave it. "Plan." "Act of care," she said. "Then the strike." "What care?" he asked. She slipped the ledger into his blanket roll and tied it with her scarf. "If I fall, the book doesn't." "Clara." "Trust me," she said. Boots scraped the siding. Shadows shifted. A lantern paused at the cab steps. Oil light washed the floorboards. The man with the chain lifted it. Lynx sang. He raised his lantern higher. Smoke thinned enough to show faces. His mouth opened, and from the clerk's window a sudden bloom of white light hurled out, magnesium flasher vicious and pure, turning rain to knives and men to blind statues. The flash burned the night white. Men on the siding screamed, hands over eyes. Lanterns dropped, hissing in mud. Nietzsche shoved Clara's chair deeper into shadow. "Stay." "I can fight," Clara said. "You already did," he answered. Reeves barked, voice cutting smoke. "Push now." Proctor vaulted from the goat, revolver low. He kicked the chain man flat before the blind wore off. "Down." The stranger moved faster, blade to wrist, pinning him to ballast. "Quiet." The chain clinked loose. Reeves scooped it. "Ours now." The judge climbed down last, robe-soaked, eyes narrowed against the dying glare. "Inside," he said. "The clerk's room." The goat hissed. Steam thinned. Rain ticked harder. Atza herded the children across the siding. Dostese shielded Clara's head with a wet shawl. "Keep low." Clara gripped her wheels. "I'll roll." They reached the clerk's window. It gaped open, curtains torn. Light still glowed inside. Weak. Kaya eased up first, bow raised though empty. "Clear." The stranger slid beside him. Not clear. Inside, the real clerk lay bound, gagged, eyes wide. A second man hunched over the key, tapping with frantic fingers. Reeves grabbed him by the collar and slammed him against the wall. "Message to who?" The man spat rain. "Receiver. Capital. They know." Proctor ripped the slip from the table. He read fast. "Witness secured. Ledger compromised. Marshal overruled. His jaw tightened. Lies! The judge stepped in, water streaming from his sleeve. Clerk, can you still send? The gagged man nodded furiously. Proctor cut him free. The clerk gasped. They forced me. You'll send truth now, the judge said. He laid the ledger pages on the desk, heavy with water. Key it. Court sits. Ledger safe. Witness free. The clerk's fingers trembled but tapped. Dot dash. Clean. Steady. The judge turned to the prisoner. What's your name? The man sneered. None for you. The stranger pressed his knife harder. Then none for the flood when it takes you. The judge's tone stayed even. Marshal, irons. Reeves tossed the stolen chain. Proctor snapped it around the man's wrists. You'll clink to capital instead. Nietzsche closed the window shutters. Rim still alive. Kaya peered through a crack. Lanterns regrouping. 30 men, maybe more. Clara wheeled forward, hair damp, face pale. They'll storm the depot. Not if we move first, Dostese said. To where? Atsa asked. Flood south, fire east, men west. The judge answered. North track. Court train waits. Reeves narrowed his eyes. That's your plan. The judge didn't blink. It's law. Proctor checked his revolver. Then we cut through. Lyle caught his arm. Too many rifles, Nietzsche said. Then we use weight, not speed. Clara held up the scarf-tied bundle. You mean this? Nietzsche nodded. Their eyes want it. Then let them look, Clara said. The judge studied her. You'll be bait. I'll be truth, Clara said. Reeves muttered. Kids braver than half your deputies. Proctor loaded one bullet. We give her shadow, not chains. Outside, boots splashed closer. Voices barked. The rain eased just enough to carry sound. Positions, Nietzsche said. He placed Clara at the corner window, lantern at her side. The shawl bulged, hiding the ledger. Kaya crouched beside her. If they aim, I throw first, Clara whispered. Aim at their fear. The stranger barred the door with a timber. Reeves stood guard, chain wrapped around his fist like a knuckle. Proctor leaned close to Clara. Don't speak unless needed. I'll speak when they must hear, she said. The first wave hit boots outside, a shout. Deliver her, deliver the book. Clara's voice carried back, steady. Come take them. Murmurs outside. Uneasy. Nietzsche whispered. They believe. A shot cracked, wood splintering above Clara's wheel. She flinched but didn't drop her chin. Reeves swung the door open a hand. He hurled the chain. It smacked a rifle barrel, clanging. A man cursed. Kaya burst through the gap, tackled the shooter into mud, wrestled the gun free. One less, the mob roared. More boots thundered. The stranger barred the door again. They'll rush. The judge stood tall, dripping. Then we hold 10 breaths. Reinforce comes. From who? Reeves snapped. The telegraph key clicked again. Rapid. The clerk's face went pale. Reply from Capital. Read it, Proctor barked. The clerk swallowed. They confirm stay. They warn. Receiver sends rail militia at dawn, with artillery. The room fell silent. Even rain hushed. Clara's grip on her wheel turned white. Artillery? Nietzsche's eyes stayed steady. Then night is ours. Reeves muttered, Not enough. Atsa pulled the children tighter. It must be. The judge raised his hand. Listen. They come with guns tomorrow. Tonight we prove this ledger alive. We walk north under storm. Anyone blocks us, court moves through. Boots pounded outside again. A new voice barked. Not ranger. Not guard. Colder. We burn you out. A torch landed on the depot roof. Flame hissed. Kaya cursed. Fire again. Proctor raised his revolver. We can't hold here. Clara's voice cut sharp. Then we move now. Nietzsche lifted her chair. With the book. Always, she said. They surged for the back door, shadowed. Reeves kicked it open. Rain swallowed them. Fire cracked above. The mob saw them. Shouts rose. Rifles lifted. The judge raised his voice like thunder. This court walks north. Lanterns bobbed, chasing. The stranger hurled sand into the first torch, smothering it. Reeves swung the chain like a whip. Proctor fired once, clean, dropping a rifleman. Nietzsche carried Clara fast, boots slipping. Dostese shielded her head. Hold. Clara clutched the ledger under her scarf. I've got it, Kaya shouted. Bridge ahead. A black silhouette waited. Old trestle, slick rails over roaring flood. The mob thundered behind. Reeves spat rain. We cross or die here. Nietzsche looked at Clara. Choose. Her voice didn't shake. We cross. They hit the trestle, boards groaning, wind-clawed. River teeth snapped below. Boots followed. Torches glared. Halfway across, iron shrieked. One tie cracked. The bridge sagged. And ahead, lanterns appeared. Figures waiting on the far bank. Rifles ready. The trestle moaned under them. Water slammed the pilings. Fire from the depot lit the sky orange. Behind, the mob roared. Ahead, rifles glimmered in lantern light. Nietzsche's arms tightened on Clara's chair. Hold still. I'm steady, she said. Kaya glanced down. Boards bent, one already cracked. Not many breaths left. Reeves coiled the stolen chain on his fist. Then spend them loud. The judge lifted his voice. By court seal, stand down. A rifle barked from the far bank. The shot spat sparks off iron. Proctor shoved the judge behind a post. No one's listening. Dostese covered Clara's head with her shawl. Keep low. The stranger crawled forward on hands and knees. Give me 2 shots of shadow. Nietzsche said. You'll fall. Not tonight, the stranger said. He slithered along the ties, knife in teeth. Another rifle cracked. He froze, then rolled under a beam, hidden. The mob behind shouted, Push them off! Boots clanged on boards. The bridge shook. Clara whispered, They'll crush us. Not if we cut weight, Nietzsche said. He kicked a rotten plank loose. It splashed away, one less step for the mob. A torch arced from the rear. It landed on a tie, flame hissing. Reeves stamped it out with his heel, cursing, No more fire on wood! Ahead, a voice barked. Calm. Cold. Deliver the girl. Deliver the ledger. Or drown. Clara shouted back, Come take me! The mob hesitated. Fear shivered their noise. Nietzsche grinned without humor. Her voice is heavier than rifles. The judge straightened, robe plastered to his ribs. Truth stands here, Proctor growled. Truth bleeds if we don't move. The stranger reappeared. His knife slid quiet under lantern light. He cut the lead rifleman's sling. The weapon splashed into flood. Panic on the bank. He's under. Kaya seized the breath. He hurled his last shaft. Wood splintered from a post. Sparks rained on the far lantern. It died. Darkness swallowed half their aim. Reeves barked, Forward now! Nietzsche heaved Clara's chair. Dostese steadied wheels. They lunged board to board. The trestle sagged. A tie popped. Water screamed below. Don't look down, Clara said. I never do, Nietzsche muttered. Behind, the mob surged. Boots cracked. One man slipped. He screamed once and vanished. The flood claimed him whole. Fear rippled through the rest. The press slowed. Ahead, rifles lifted again. Muzzles flashed. A bullet snapped wood beside Clara's wheel. Proctor fired back, clean and fast. One rifle dropped. Reeves swung his chain and caught another barrel, wrenching it away. The stranger climbed back up, soaked. 2 less. The judge pointed at the far lanterns. Marshal, push them back. Proctor raised his badge. 1 more step and you're in contempt. Laughter came cold. Contempt drowns. Another volley cracked. Splinters cut Clara's cheek. She didn't flinch. Nietzsche muttered, You're bleeding again. Bruises fade, she said. We keep moving. They reached the midpoint. The bridge groaned like an old man dying. Kaya looked back. They're retreating. No. The mob stopped. Their leader barked once. Then they began sawing at the trestle supports with hatchets. Dostese hissed, They'll drop us all. Reeves spat into the flood. Madness! The judge's voice thundered. That's murder. No answer but iron on wood. Proctor swore. We run or we swim. Nietzsche shook his head. Not yet. He shoved Clara's chair forward and planted his heels. Kaya, cut rope. Kaya's knife bit the handline. The plank behind them broke free. A whole span sagged. The mob howled as their footing tilted. 3 went into the river, screaming. The cutting stopped. "Now move!" Proctor yelled. They charged. Boards snapped under boots. Lanterns swung mad ahead. The stranger barreled into the lead rifleman on the far side. They grappled. Knife flashed. The rifleman dropped. Reeves stormed through the gap. His chain whistled. 2 more went down. Nietzsche lifted Clara's chair clear of the last gap. Destinies pulled with both arms. They landed on stone. "Up!" Reeves shouted. Everyone surged onto the far bank. Mud sucked boots. Fire hissed in rain. The mob behind roared frustration. They didn't follow. Fear of the cut bridge held them. Clara sat straight in her chair, soaked, cheek bleeding, ledger still strapped under her scarf. "We made it," the judge nodded once. "For now." Then the roar shifted, louder, deeper. The flood rose again, shoving against pilings. Kaya's eyes widened. "The trestle!" It groaned. It snapped. The whole span behind them folded into the river with a crash. The mob screamed. Lanterns toppled. Half of them went with the wood. Silence after, broken only by water's roar. Reeves exhaled. "Bridge is gone." Proctor holstered his gun. "So is their road." Nietzsche looked at Clara. "You chose right." She swallowed hard. "We're not finished." The judge lifted the ledger from her scarf. He raised it high in rain. "Court stands." Flood or no flood? Lightning forked. The book's chain gleamed. Then hoofbeats. Hard. Dozens. From North Track, lanterns bloomed again. Uniform coats. Rifles braced. Reeves muttered, "Not mob. Not syndicate." Proctor's jaw clenched. "Rail militia," Clara's breath caught, "with artillery." The judge's face hardened. They came early. On the rise, a cannon wheel glistened in lightning. The group has barely escaped the mob and the collapsing bridge, only to face the approaching receiver's rail militia, with artillery rolling into position. The cannon wheel gleamed on the ridge. Thunder walked behind it. Reeves muttered, "Too many." Proctor drew a breath through his teeth. "Then we don't shoot first." The judge stepped forward, ledger high, rain running down his sleeve. "Court sits here." His voice cut the storm. "Any man firing on this book fires on law itself." The militia line hesitated. Lanterns swayed. Rifles wavered. Clara wheeled herself forward until Nietzsche caught her rail. "Stop." "No," she said. "They must see me." She pulled the scarf aside. The bruise on her cheek flared dark in the lightning. "This is what they protect," she called. "A hand that struck me. A lie written over my name." The soldiers murmured. One lowered his rifle. Another followed. The militia captain barked, "Hold ranks!" But doubt had slipped in. Destinies placed both hands on Clara's shoulders. "Care first," Clara raised her voice. "I am not property. I am witness. And this ledger is not theirs. It is ours." Nietzsche's eyes never left the captain. "She speaks truth." Reeves swung the chain once. "And you'll swing with it if you cross." The stranger added quiet steel. "Try. And the river will eat more names." The cannon crew hesitated. Lightning showed their faces, young, wet, afraid. One muttered, "She's a girl." The captain shouted, "She's a debtor." The judge raised the book. "She's under court. Court higher than any receiver." Proctor's voice hit like a hammer. "Stand down, or hang by morning." The militia line faltered. Then one man shoved his rifle butt into the mud. Another dropped his powder bag. The captain's face curdled. "Traitors." "No," one soldier said. "We don't shoot children." The captain yanked a pistol, fury boiling. He aimed at Clara. Nietzsche stepped in front, knife bare. "You'll pass through me first." Lightning cracked. The pistol fired, but the shot never found her. Reeves's chain whipped, catching the pistol's wrist. The ball went wide. Mud spit beside the rail. Reeves yanked. The captain toppled. His pistol clattered into flood. The soldiers didn't move to help him. They stood silent, rifles low, waiting. The judge's voice filled the gap. "This hearing is closed. At dawn, the ledger rides to capital. Any man blocks that path stands against the people, not for them." Rain softened. The storm began to loosen its grip. The soldiers stepped back one by one. The cannon crew pulled their load into reverse. Lanterns dimmed. Boots retreated up the track. Silence fell again. broken only by water and breath. Clara leaned back in her chair, soaked, trembling. Dostise pressed the warm stone into her palm again. "Steady," she nodded. "I'm steady." The judge lowered the book into her lap. "This belongs with you until dawn. You carried it here. You keep it." Her hands closed over the wet leather. "I will." Nietzsche rested one hand on her wheel. "You stood taller than the storm." "Because you lifted me," she said. He shook his head. "Because you spoke." Reeves leaned against a post, breathing hard. "Never thought I'd thank a bruise." Clara touched her cheek gently. "Neither did I." Proctor looked at the judge. "What now?" The judge gazed north, where the track curved toward Capitol. "We ride when light comes, with witness, with ledger, with truth." Atza's children pressed close to Clara, eyes wide. "Did we win?" one whispered. Clara smiled faint. "We lived." "That's the win," Nietzsche added. "And we told them no." The stranger wiped rain from his blade and slid it home. "That's worth more than paper," the judge corrected softly. "Tonight, paper stood because you all held it. That's law, not seals, not ink. Hands." He turned to Clara. "You'll speak tomorrow." Her voice was hoarse but sure. "I'll speak." Reeves tipped his hat. "Then I'll stand beside you, chain ready." Proctor nodded. "And badge." Nietzsche bent, his eye to eye with her. "And me." Clara's eyes burned with something new, pride. "Then they'll hear us." Rain eased into mist. The sky lightened at its edge. The trestle behind lay in pieces, half buried in flood. But ahead, rails still stretched, shining wet, a road to Capitol. The ledger sat in Clara's lap, heavy, but not as heavy as silence had been. She looked at Nietzsche, then at the judge, then at the children pressed against her chair. "We carry this together," she said. The judge's robe clung, soaked. He still stood tall, together. They set lanterns low. They formed a circle, refugees and rangers, martial and strangers, all bound by one thing, truth pulled through storm. And as the first pale stripe of dawn split the sky, Clara lifted the ledger high. Not chains, not shame. Proof, the crowd murmured, voices breaking into something like hope. The judge declared, steady as the sun, "Court stands." This story reminds us that truth, though fragile, becomes unbreakable when carried by many hands, by courage, by care, by the refusal to be silent. If this touched you, subscribe for more stories of resilience and justice. And don't stop here, watch our next tale, where another forgotten voice rises from the dust and refuses to be broken.